I will tell you a story. How Carlos Castaneda changed my life. So, what can I tell you? My life has been a blessing from the time that spirituality has been introduced in my life. Back then, in 1989, one evening, through the help of one of my friends, his name is Paris, we were studying together, I was introduced to a book. It was one evening, one night that changed my whole life, and I was introduced to this book of Carlos Castaneda. This book literally opened my eyes to the possibility of something different. And what was this that it was introduced to me? The idea, through his story, through Carlos Castaneda's story, that there is an opportunity in somebody's life to live your dream and to live like a magical, amazing, extraordinary, and out of the real world life. And when I say out of this world, I don't mean like something like extraterrestrial, but out of the conventional, because there is this extraordinary level of life where magic happens, and I don't mean like magic tricks or something like that, but magic in your heart, in the level of consciousness, in the level of your everyday experience. So Carlos Castaneda introduced to me this opportunity that a man can take his life in his own hands, a man can dictate his destiny, a man can actually experience the deepest level of experience that is possible for a human being, and all this one can discover basically inside of him. And from this moment on, my life completely changed, because I really bought into this story, to his story, and I really believed that something like this is possible. I remember that the majority of my friends and other people that I communicated this idea, they were telling me that I'm crazy, that these things don't exist, that this is just a story. The truth is that these things existed because I found them actually later in my life. I experienced myself this truth. But everything started in this moment. And Carlos Castaneda's books didn't introduce specific techniques or methods for evolution. It was more like in the philosophical level, in the subtle level, let's say, some ideas and some stories he was sharing. But the most important of all that I got from Carlos Castaneda books was the awakening of the spirit of a human, the awakening of this possibility that a human life can be actually truly magical, truly amazing, truly mysterious, truly like nothing else we have experienced before. And through these books, I made my first shamanic journeys. Actually, these were my first shamanic journeys through reading, through traveling. It was a traveling through the story, actually. And from this moment started my transformation. 10 years later, this brought me to the second crucial moment of my life, when I had to take some decisions. I had to become a dentist or quit and live a different type of life. The thing that I remember that I read this day in this book that shifted me the most was one phrase that Don Juan told to Castaneda. after some arguments they had about the nature of one's life and one's destiny, Don Juan told this to Castaneda: you are what you say to yourself that you are. And this, I remember, made a huge impact in my mind and in my consciousness, because first time I contacted this idea that we are actually the creators of our own destiny. It was amazing for me to read something like that. I have never heard anybody before saying something like this. You are what you say to yourself that you are. Stay a little bit with this phrase also for yourself. You are what you say to yourself that you are. This shifted me completely. First time I had this epiphany that there is hope, that really, like, the keys for my life was not in the circumstances, was not in my mother, father, university, or the way that the others live around me, but directly on me. And I was actually creating my experience of life. I have never heard something like this before. Everybody was talking about the circumstances, about the external aspect of opportunities that life can give you, about the external achievements. And first time it was all about what you say to yourself. It was amazing. I remember the shift in consciousness I had in this moment, and this shift in consciousness actually changed me permanently. And from this moment my life, in the beginning slowly and after very fast, start moving forward. In the next 10 years I was contemplating with these ideas, reading spiritual books, and I was trying to understand how can I actually achieve something like that, but it was impossible for me to believe that I could do it by myself without a teacher. Also, I couldn't believe that I can find such a teacher, because the story, truthfully, it was written in such a way that it seemed like an exotic fairy tale, something like for Disney World, not a real situation that somebody can meet in his life. He was one in a million. He found this accidentally in a desert in Mexico, in some remote place. It just happened to him. But little did I know that the same would happen exactly to me. It was 10 years exactly after that the same thing happened to me. It was in a period of my life that I was ready to make the last effort to take my diploma and actually become a dentist. And in this moment I realized that I cannot do this, that I had to live a different life. I had to make one step forward. I had to go beyond the limitation of my own mind and the circumstances of my life. And I did this step. Actually, this step too came and took me. First, I did the first initial step by myself, that I said, okay, I will quit the university, I will quit this life that I'm living, and I will live a spiritual life. I didn't know what this means, but this was my decision. I will live a different life. The thing is that now I know that this was waiting for me, so somehow I knew it. And I had to do this. The next thing that remained from me, from Carlos Castaneda, was his description of shamanic journeys in different realities that he was describing, sometimes using medicine plants, sometimes through the influence of energy and his mentor. And this introduced me to this possibility of the shamanic journey. Later in Siberia I learned how to do this with the use of the drum, and also the last period of time when we go to Peru through the experience of medicinal plants like ayahuasca, where the indigenous shamans there in the jungle are using for hundreds and hundreds of years. And the possibility that through these shamanic journeys you can actually transform in the deepest level that exists in you directly your destiny and your perception of life. And these two are connected. The perception of life creates your destiny. And the last thing that I want to tell you that changed my life through these books of Carlos Castaneda, that really saved my life, is the fact that first time I was introduced through these books to a different purpose of existence altogether. I mean, the way he was describing the meaning of one's life, which was for him to achieve the completion of your energy, the completion of your personal power, and the completion of your being, like to achieve the absolute freedom. I never heard before for a purpose of life something like that. Always people were speaking about a purpose, like to create a family, to achieve success in your job, to make money. I mean, what was the examples of successful people in the world? Fame, money, popularity, maybe big family, stuff like that, externally only. Materials, maybe some achievements, maybe some, I don't know, breaking some record and stuff like that. But the fact to achieve an inner completion so strong that it will stay for you permanently and forever, I have never experienced it or heard about it except these books of Carlos Castaneda in this moment, and this actually shifted completely my life and saved my life, because from this moment I knew this was my purpose and this is what I had to do. And later also my own teachers told me many times the same, that only this can help you really become fulfilled if your goal is completely independent of the external outcomes. A goal, a purpose that totally depends on you and the way you will live, your choices, and the way you see and direct your own life in front, forward. So this was a little story I wanted to share with you today, 1st of March. I wish to you, as the spring enters, to make new starts in your life. Put the biggest, highest and further possible goals in your life that you can imagine or see or intuitively feel inside of you. Don't let lower things to catch your attention and to distort your mind, making you believe that you will become truly fulfilled by achieving some external achievement. Of course, external achievements have their goals, their purposes, like a practice, like a tool to measure your evolution, like an external practice to develop some skills, some inner qualities, to test yourself and things like that. But actually the result, what you are really searching for, happiness, fulfillment and all this, can never be achieved by achieving something externally. And if you achieve this externally, you will have this internally. This never works like this. This is what I wanted to tell you, and I want to thank through this video Carlos Castaneda and his courage to pursue something so high and to bring this possibility in my life and through me to others, because through his books thousands and millions of people had similar experience like mine and opened their path to a better future, to something extraordinary, to something different. So, as Don Juan was telling to Carlos Castaneda, if you want to thank the Spirit or thank me for what I'm teaching you, don't just come and say thank you, thank you. Because of all this that had happened to my life, I decided to dedicate my life also practically, externally, to transmit these truths to also all the people who are ready to learn something like this, to see the light in the end of the tunnel, and to these people who have the guts actually to change their life and have the dedication to do something really that the majority are not willing to do. And this is why I decided to create the last years this academy, this school, and take people to this kind of journeys to help them also achieve inner freedom, inner power, inner transformation, to find the true love and all this that we're searching in our life. Especially to introduce people to this kind of learning and teaching, I'm doing lately trips all over the world, because when somebody like Carlos Castaneda is leaving his environment and going a little bit further away in pursuit of something greater, this helps him to actually open and become able to find what he's searching for, because it is very difficult, not impossible, but more difficult, let's say, to do all this transformation also being in our everyday ordinary environment, because everything around us is like the result of a habitual life, and it's very difficult following your habitual life to break through these habits. But traveling, going somewhere far away with the purpose of transformation, this is like a very big kick-starting for this path. So I invite you this summer to a very big pilgrimage of transformation, to a very big shamanic spiritual journey, a physical journey to Peru, where the people who will go there will experience a very big transformation, a very big awakening, and they will have the ability to do something like this, to change their life completely. This is what I want to tell you in this video. If you like this video, please push the like button, and if you subscribe to our channel, you will give me a possibilities to make more videos like this and help you, to introduce you into spirituality, into personal development, and help you also see your life differently. Also, you can click the notification bell that you will see there when you subscribe, because I release a video like this every week, every Thursday, and you don't want to miss it. So you will receive notification and it will come immediately to your inbox or to your YouTube account. So take care, enjoy the 1st of March, and I will see you in the next video. Until the next video, be happy.